go away.
Welcome to Safety Net, and it's summer, and the other people usually are here are not. They're on vacation. We usually have the State Highway Patrolman and Scott Borden, the campus police chief here. But today I'm going to fill in and talk about a very important topic which just came up last night on the news, is motorcycle safety. There was a man killed in Kentucky that a car pulled out in front of him and he hit the side and didn't survive, and was wearing a helmet, but sometimes that isn't enough. So we're going to talk about some of the attitudes and things you can do to protect yourself, because the only person that can protect you is you, especially when you were on a motorcycle and not surrounded by plastic and airbags and all that kind of stuff. So today we're talking about motorcycle safety. The attitude you have to have is everyone is out to kill you. You just have to think everyone around you is going to do the dumbest thing possible. If there's a person that is wanting to pull out, if there are people, if you're beside somebody, assume they're going to swerve into your lane or pull out in front of you, and you just have to be ready for that. What's the next slide? Ride at your own level. Okay, so what I'm talking about that is a lot of times we ride in groups. And in all groups you have your beginners and you have people that's been riding forever, and some of those people ride very fast. And so you can, you have to ride at your own level and don't get pressured by trying to keep up, or if somebody's faster, just let them pass you, but ride at your own level. This, when you get in trouble, is when you try and keep up and you ride above your skill level and end off making an off on the side of the road. And I've seen that several times. Somebody doesn't know what they're doing and is a new rider, and will be going through turns, and they will assume that they're going too fast for the turn. They usually aren't, but for their skill level, they haven't been around this particular corner at this speed. So the one that I saw, very early on when I was riding, the person in front of me freaked out a little bit, went off the road into the gravel, hit the front brake, and tumbled, and then got choppered out. They were okay. So ride at your own speed and skill level. The other thing you can do is the ATGATT, is all the gear all the time. So if you have a helmet, gloves, a jacket, preferably riding pants, or at least heavy jeans, and boots or shoes that will go over your ankle. And the shoes are the type of shoes that are better with oil, putting your feet down on the road so you don't slip and accidentally just fall over at a stop sign. They protect your ankles. The jacket has armor and different things so you can slide down the road and not tear your skin off. I've heard people say that, if I'm meant to go, I was meant to go, But if you weren't, then recuperating in the hospital without a lot of road rash is preferable, because road rash, I don't know personally, but I imagine that hurts like heck. So all the gear all the time. If you have it, you should be wearing it. And I know Ohio isn't a helmet state, but I always wear a helmet, and I'm usually wearing a full face. To me, it's more comfortable. You don't get hit by bugs and all that kind of stuff. One thing that comes into play when you are a motorcycle rider is ego. You want to go just like your buddies, and you're not up to it yet. One of the things, don't enter a turn faster than you think you can go through it. You can always speed up in a turn, but it's much harder to slow down. Grabbing the front brake in a turn is not very good, especially a panic brake. Your front end will go out and you're basically going to wreck then. If your rear tire locks up, if you hit the rear brake, you want to probably stay on the rear brake and try to recover the slide and not let off, because then you'll high side. What was the second part of that? I know I had another. Yeah, ride your own ride. Your friends may be better and more experienced riders, so you ride at your own level. I think we just covered that before. So next slide. Okay, more about attitude. A lot of motorcycling is in your head. You don't have to be strong necessarily to ride a motorcycle, but it is a lot in your head. It's a lot about discipline. Your speed, you should give yourself time to react and have a safety buffer. That means you don't want to be riding at the edge of traction, because if something happens and you push it, or you have to change your line or hit the brakes, then the next thing it'll do is slide and you'll wreck. So give yourself space in front of you in case something ends up in the road. There will be rises in the road where you can't see over. You know, I've come up over the rise and there's like a dog in front of you, so you have to have enough time to do that. You can't look around the turn, so you don't know whether, you know, I've had deer or cows in the road, so go slow enough, or don't go too fast to where you can't react to surprises like that. There could be a wreck, there could be a person walking, there could be a bicyclist. Give yourself that extra measure of safety in slowing down so that you can react to these things. All right, another big thing besides your attitude is lane position. And lane position is whether you're in the center, the right part of the lane, or the left part of the lane. And like this past wreck that was on the news, and it happens all the time, is somebody's entering from the side or something, or somebody pulls out, and what they always say is, I didn't see them. You know, so right, that's what you hear from car drivers all the time is, I didn't see you. So lane position can really benefit you as far as being able to be seen. All right, so here we have an intersection, and we're the little motorcycle at the bottom, and the red line is the line of sight from the car entering from the right. Now, if you're in the left part of the lane behind the blue car, they don't know you're there. So whenever that blue car passes, the red car is going to go and probably pull out in front of you. So what should you do? You should move. There's a slide after that. Move to the right. So you can see the difference it makes. You were in the shadow of the car on the left. If you move to the right, then that person can see you. So this changes all the time, whether there's a car entering from the left or the right, or if there's somebody making a left turn or whatever. You know, there's times within several hundred feet where I may be in the right side of the lane or the left, just so, you know, you're judging the traffic in front of you. And like I said, everybody's out to kill you, and you're guessing that they're going to do the dumbest thing possible. So just be ready for that car to pull out. So you want to be in the place at least so they can see your headlight to say, you know, hopefully cut off that I didn't see you part. All right, so this is the one that happens a lot, and sometimes not even having the car in front of you. But this is a car turning left in front of the motorcyclist. So if I'm in the right part of the lane, you can see that I'm behind the car and not being able to be seen. And if I move to the left, then I can be seen by the car. And if you move back and give yourself more space between you and that car, the more able you'll be able to be seen by the oncoming car. So don't ride somebody's bumper and be hidden. You want to be as conspicuous as possible. You know, other things I might do is, you know, if you're going down like a 4-lane, you know, where you've got all the burger joints and things, lots of traffic, is move around a little bit in the lane. Because if you're just going straight and not moving, then you're just a point of light. And it's very hard to tell the distance between you and them if you're just a point of light. But at least if you move around, then you break yourself away from the background. And somebody will, you know, you might look stupid doing it, just weave around a little bit, but you'll get that person's attention going, what's that guy doing? So at least you'll be seen, and they'll wonder what you're doing, and they'll sit still and not pull out in front of you, hopefully. All right, on 4 lanes, I've seen this happen lots too. If somebody wants to make a pass or change lanes, or you're passing a car, these places are blind spots. And I do not like to hang out in the blind spot at all. And trucks have more blind spots in front of them, around their trailers. They can't see behind them. So try and be out of their blind spots and don't spend a lot of time in that area. Another thing you can do is move out to the edge. Say like if the car wanted to change lanes, and if you're right on their rear fender, if they move over, they're going to hit you. So you want to move out and away from that car that you suspect may change lanes. And you can guess some of this stuff. If this blue car would be coming up on somebody quickly, then you can kind of guess their body language, you know, by their car, that they're going to want to pass the car in front of them, and they'll probably go to the left. So then you anticipate these things. You know, assume they don't see you, and think like, if I was in that car, I would be going to the left and passing the car in front. Or say like if they were going to try and get off an exit. I've had a couple friends run over that way, just changing lanes very quickly. Another thing, don't follow too close. There may be things in the road, animals, you know, dead animals, car parts, tree trunks, or whatever. It's hard to tell. A car might be able to get over it, but a motorcycle might throw you off. There was a time this year, I wasn't on the motorcycle, but it hit the bottom of my car. There was a huge, I don't know if it was a generator or something, laying in the road. And, you know, with the car, I couldn't choose a lane, so I ran right over it, and it hit the frame of the car. Now, if I was on the bike and hit that, I would have wrecked, because it was just a huge, round, metal, heavy object. So if you're following too close, things like that will just appear in front of you, and you won't have time to swerve around it. Now, if you give yourself, you know, 50 to 100 yards between you and the next car, you know, 50 yards, 25 at minimum probably, that might give you enough time to swerve around all these things. So don't ride up on their bumper, because you don't know what's going to come out from under those cars. Or trucks, or things falling off trucks. Things fall out, you know. And I stay away from the trucks that are hauling, you know, there's people that move with a pickup and they got all this stuff strapped down. I don't spend a lot of time behind those guys either. I want to get around and away from those, because I don't want to have the recliner in my lap. And I've had friends have 2x4s come off of a truck and hit their bike and tear off parts. I think that guy almost bit it that day. All right, so that's lane position. Move around in the lane to where the person oncoming or entering can see you. And that changes depending on the the situation. So it's target fixation. This is kind of one of those things that will bite you and you won't know it until it's way too late. Target fixation is when you look at something and you're looking at it and that's where you go. So remember head and eyes. Head and eyes, head and eyes. Wherever you point your head and your eyes is where your motorcycle is going to go, most likely. And that's why you make tight turns too. You look to where you want to go. You look at the lane, you look around the corner. Wherever you're looking is where you're going to go. And we make yearly trips to Deals Gap in North Carolina. I see this quite often. Motorcycles come around a corner, they'll look at a car, and it's almost like magic that magnetically they're drawn to this car, and it's like, where are you going? And they run right into the front of the car. And they weren't going too fast for the corner. They could have made it around the corner, but they started staring at the car and they run right into it. Or it may be a pothole, it might be something over the guardrail or off the road. You have to train yourself. Like I said, this motorcycling is a lot of stuff in your mind. So you have to control and be disciplined about where you look. You can notice things, but you don't want to look at it. You don't want to look at the ditch on the side of the road because you'll probably go there. The other problem, besides like looking at a car and running right into it, is if you're traveling in a group and you're just kind of following the guy in front and you're basically just watching his taillights and, you know, paying attention to what this guy is doing, and he goes too fast in a turn, or he gets target fixation on something and he runs off the road, and for no good reason you run right off the road with him. And I've seen this happen personally too, and it's just crazy. You just ask yourself, why did he just run right off the road right behind him? It's because they were staring at the bike, and where your eyes go, you go, and you looked at the bike, and so you followed him right off the road. So the discipline it takes to follow, you have to know that the bike in front is there, but like, that's the little dotted yellow line, so that's where you know the car is, or the motorcycle. But you look to where the red line is, you're driving the road. You're not following the guy, you're riding the road. So you look where the road goes and don't follow the guy in front. And this takes some practice. It's not real easy to do. What do we have next? Oh, this is the dead animal on the road. Instead of looking at the dead animal on the road, that's a poor little possum there who died because the car hit him, you want to look where you want to put your wheels. And this could be an obstacle, it could be a pothole or whatever. You have to train yourself to look where you want to place your wheels. So, okay, I see there's an animal, look to the right of the animal, and that's where your tires will go. Not that it doesn't take some input, but it's more likely that you'll miss it if you look somewhere else other than at the obstacle. Okay, another thing is not only being seen from the front, is being seen from the rear. And this is especially in heavy traffic, or if the sun is at your back and they can't see your lights because the sun is shining on your lights, and there's not a lot of difference between on and off your brakes or your turn signals. So when you are deciding to turn, you turn on your turn signal. I'm watching the mirror and I'm looking for that little dive in the car, the nose that comes down, knowing, okay, the guy's hit the brakes, he's seen me. The other thing, okay, and if he hasn't seen me, I am prepared to get back on the gas and maybe go past where I was going to turn off and pull off and make a U-turn and go back to that place. Okay, go back to that. All right, this is a stop sign, and traffic is coming up to your rear, just like the truck. And I've had friends this happened to also, where they are between a car and the car coming up, and the car coming up doesn't see you, and now you're motorcycle sandwich. So what you want to do at a intersection or a stoplight is position yourself to the left or right. There's the left, so that, you know, I have my eyes on the rear view mirror, and if you can tell this guy is not going to stop in time for me, I can pull up beside the car and he can hit the car if he wants, but he's not going to hit me because it's not going to hurt as much if he hits the car. So left or right, depending on the situation, all these are judgment calls. Where do you want to be in case the guy behind you doesn't stop? And like I said, check your 6, which is the 6s behind you, 12 o'clock's in front. So checking your 6 all the time if you're going to slow down, stop, turn, or any of this stuff. And sometimes I'll have my turn signal on, but just to make sure, I'll put my hand out whether I'm turning left or right. And another thing I do sometimes, I'll pass somebody. I live in a small town, so I know a lot of people. So if that person knows where I live, I would rather be in front of them so that they know, well, he's probably going to turn up this road. Because the road I live on is just kind of odd, and people don't expect you to be turning there a lot of times. So I'll get in front of the person who knows me, and I'll be going that direction. And that helps. You know, I won't pull out in front of a little old lady who can't see and doesn't know I'm going to turn there, if it's a choice. So that's another decision I make. Or if I'll try and make a little bit of space between me and that person so that I can be turned by the time that they go by. That, you know, the police may not like it because I go a little quicker just to make the space. But it's, to me, safer to make the space between you and the person. Okay, so you're not that experienced. You haven't tried the limits of the motorcycle. But I can let you know the motorcycle is more capable than you probably are as a rider. So if you enter a turn and you're going, holy moly, this is a little bit too quick for me, and I think I'm going to run off the road, don't run off the road. You just push it a little bit harder, lean a little bit farther, and the motorcycle will probably go around the turn where you didn't think it would. And if you're going that much faster than you think, then get off the seat to the inside of the corner. You put your weight on the inside of the turn so that your bike doesn't have to lean as much, if that makes sense. So you see this from racers, that they get off the edge of the bike and they put their knee down and that sort of thing. You can do that on any bike, whether it's a big tourer or a sport bike. But if you need a little bit more lean angle, get off the seat or lean over, get over by the mirror so you can get around the turn. And just push it over and it should go around the turn. Okay, riding with a pillion, which I think is an English term, because I ride English bikes and this is a common term. A pillion is a passenger, so riding with a passenger on back. When you're going slow, tell them to sit still. Just be a statue and don't move around. When you come in the parking lot, you don't want the person on the back just looking around and all this stuff, because it upsets the bike. The other really good thing you can do is, if you're going to ride a twisty road, is tell them, they're sitting behind you, they can peek around your head and they can see which way the road is going to turn. So like if it's a right turn, tell them to look over your right shoulder. If it's a left turn, look over my left shoulder. They don't have to like lean a lot. Just looking over your shoulder is enough for me to control the bike. I don't want them, if I'm leaning this way, I don't want them sitting straight up. Either be with me on the bike straight up and down and go around the turn. And what helps if you look over the shoulder on the inside of the turn. So if I'm leaning this way, you look over here. So that's riding with a passenger, and then tell them to sit still until you have got the bike turned off or holding it so that they can get off, and then you can put it over on the side stand. So hopefully you've learned something from this, and you can be more visible and safe on the road and wear your gear as much as you feel comfortable with, and be safe out there and have a great time out there riding your motorcycle, and just be safe and think about all these things, these tips I've given you. And thanks for watching.